had to switch slides.
Okay. Just make sure you know.
So we'll just go into here.
You have about 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay.
Oh, wow, you're not even going to get to.
I know there's so much. So we got 48 responses on the large survey, so thank you for that. This is a list we'll review depending on time, so we'll probably have time to get through bulk download. But these were kind of the top items on the list, combining Dev and TC, child work centers, private folders, and then kind of some of this delegated company user management, with which we've been kind of dancing around a little bit with the last conversation. So we'll talk about this one first. So this is an initiative to explore how we make it easier to download multiple files in Procorem. Got a lot of feedback on this one. One agency actually relies on a tool that we built a few years ago called Procorem File Explorer for their application process. It's been in beta for 5 years or something. It's like a little experimental tool that we built. Then we've also have some other people that would like this for public record requests, and then just pulling data from Procorem. Another agency basically has already built their own API to download files for a funding application from the Procorem API. So I guess a couple questions, and then we can dive into two solutions that we possibly have for this item. What kind of use cases do you have today to download multiple files? I think the main one I've heard about is the application process. So you get to the end of the application process, they've submitted all their files, you have 41 files you want to review, you just want to pull those all down to your desktop to go through. Is that accurate, and is there any other processes in asset management or compliance where you might use something like this?
Well, you wouldn't want the entire work center because you probably already downloaded some of those things, right?
I mean, this could give you the option. You could do a folder, you could do a whole work center, you could do
I love options.
whatever
That'd be
level.
great.
Yeah.
We do it multiple times throughout the dev process that I'm downloading like we download an initial application, 10% not so much, but then our final application, a ton of data. So it would be hugely helpful
Okay.
to do it.
Are they just uploading all the files into Procorem work folders right now?
Yeah, and really we more and more we rely on everything to go through Procorem because I use it also just as a storage to make sure that we have what we need in the time that we're going through dev. So yeah,
Okay.
they're doing it. I'm using it for everything. I'm even at this point sending loan docs back and forth often as we do a review together. So I use it in a major way.
Okay. So right now you're probably just click, click, click to download each one and then go to your download folder.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then delete.
That would help.
Yeah.
Electronic file reviews, so you would
Oh, right.
download the whole tenant's file, multiple units at the same time.
Gotcha. Yep. That's a good use case.
Right.
Okay. Okay, so let's talk about a couple options. So one option we have is to build this functionality right into the website. These screenshots are probably kind of small, but we actually did some design on this a couple years ago to add a new option to the actions menu that's on the Work Center. And you'd be able to, there's a couple bulk actions that you can do right now. You can, what is that, move, copy, delete, and then we could add another action of download. And so when you go into this bulk action mode, it basically gives you those checkboxes on the side, and you can decide that if you want to potentially download this folder or multiple files, and it would be smart and pull all of the subfolders and any subfiles below that once you click the download button. Now what this would do though is it would create a zip file of all of those folders or files, and then that's what would get streamed down to your browser. Then you'd have to open up the zip file, extract it to your local desktop. So that is one way we could do this. So this would work very similar if anybody's used SharePoint, does the same type of thing. There's not really a way technically to like download 40 files or folders that are selected to the browser. We can only do like one action file at a time. So that's why we have to put it into a zip. So this is one potential option. Does anyone have any thoughts on going this route? Maybe? Yeah? Okay. Okay, so I think pros of this one is it's built right into Procorem and it's pretty visible and easy to get to and see. The other option is to basically bring back this Procorem File Explorer, make it like a first-class tool. I think Jaffa, you're using this today pretty heavily, and in Idaho, okay, yeah.
Oregon keeps using it even though I told them to stop.
Okay.
They're not admitting that they're using it.
Yeah. Well, I think it does still work. So, so this tool, I don't know if very many people have seen this or not. This is a desktop tool. So you launch this as an exe on Windows, and you basically log in, and then it allows you to navigate through any accounts you're associated with and all of the work centers in that account. Then you can expand each of those work centers that you're associated with. So the top bar is the Procorem account. So if you only have one Procorem account, that's all you'll see. And then those are all the work centers that you're a part of on the left panel. And then you expand those and you can see each of the folders and the files. And you can download an entire work center. You can download a folder at any level, and that'll download it to your desktop and preserve the file structure of all those files. You can also do uploads too.
Am I incorrect in remembering that File Explorer will no longer work if you apply MFA?
That is correct. So yeah, that bottom one there is currently, if you decide to turn on the MFA two-step verification on your account, this currently doesn't support that. However, if this is like an option that people are really interested in using this desktop tool, we would make changes so that we support those authentication options.
Is there a record then, if you're doing this to your desktop, is there a record of the download, like the
Yeah.
actual?
Yep, so it should be the same as if you had downloaded it from the system. I can't recall if it's like individual, I don't know, Vito, if you know, when you download from here, does it create an individual record for each file that's downloaded, or does it do one like, yeah, we'll have to take a look and see if it does like an aggregate activity event or individuals. If you downloaded a whole work center, it'd be a lot of activity.
We like this one. So like,
My case study for this is like we do a lot of single family loans, and so we'll get a loan packet from the lender with all the information and can edit those documents in the work center. So we have to pull all of them out to then work on them, to then load back the new versions
Right.
to communicate. And so this is really handy for us because we can see all those work centers, because we might be working 10 cases in a day. So rather than navigate into each individual work center, then to then bulk move those files, you can just click down here, find your work center, and then pull them.
Gotcha, yeah,
So we
that
look
makes
at
sense.
I feel like previously when we talked about the zip option, that people weren't crazy about having to deal with the zip.
It's a couple
file.
extra steps. You gotta extract it and find where you want to put it on your desktop.
does this have to go through our IT group? I mean,
So it'd probably have to go through your IT
I mean,
group.
that's an extra.
Like you did, I don't know
Yes.
how, yeah, whatever your
Because it's
policies are.
installed on the desktop.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be like Smart Docs, right, where whatever you're
So-
doing for that, you probably have to go through.
The zip file option also allows for external users to download their materials in a zip file, which this does not. And
Right.
we have had
Good
a
point.
lot of our external users who have asked for a bulk template publish,
Okay. Yeah,
a bulk download. Sorry, I just say bulk and template publishing. So I am not a fan of the zip files, but I think that we have more use cases that a zip file would be better for our side,
It'd work for your partners.
for our partners. And
yeah, that makes
That's
sense.
definitely a pro, I think,
Mhm.
for that option.
Yeah, that is available externally.
both.
Both.
Why not both?
Yeah.
Well, if you give us both, you don't have to make this one two-step and SSO. We'll take the other one. It could just be a requirement.
Yeah,
I have a function question. I noticed that when we archive deals, they still show up on this. Is that possible to
Oh.
not show them?
yeah, so
Because we
that's
have a lot of repeats.
okay, so
it's
your
not
work
possible
centers
with the
are
same name.
showing archived.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's something I'll take a look at and see. I'm not sure if that was intended. Probably not, because when it's archived, it kind of should disappear. So, like, make a note of that as a bug.
Yeah, so the thing about this one is we have to decide to take full ownership of it. Because this was really built just kind of as a side thing that we built one year, and and it's kept alive and keeps on coming, so it could be that, yeah. Maybe we should just think about this and the other,
Yeah,
instead of one or the other.
That would pretty well satisfy everybody in the room, right?
Yeah.
But it may be that this one doesn't get a, huge amount of polish up front, but if we keep it running, we make it sort of work on the dual authentication.
yeah, I mean, I think it mostly functions, so there's
Yeah.
really a couple updates and tweaks that we'd have to make to it, but, yeah.
When you did update, you'd have to send us new files like you smart thoughts.
Yep, so there'd be versions of it and that type of stuff, so.
I'm not saying it's not possible, but I'd like to have to go through the whole IT thing.
So would you, at Virginia, use the zip option instead, or you would use this, but you just have to figure out how to go through IT?
We wouldn't want this one. We wouldn't want this one because people would just clutter their desktop with stuff.
So you want the zip,
We want the zip.
Okay,
and I think
But I
our-
could see how this is
I
useful.
think we're doing
and-
both.
yeah.
But I'm just saying, is it, huh? Yeah, they would just, yeah, she's like, they'll just lose track of everything on their desktop and they wouldn't delete them and, yeah.
Oh, the file.
So let's do both. I'll just have
Sean,
to
can we
figure
do
out where to
both on
fit it
some other
in.
ones too?
Is Sean allowed to approve things?
I know, wait, why is Sean?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think,
That's it, BK, you're done
That's it.
for today.
okay,
A
you have
question
another,
on this, BK might not appreciate this expansion of scope, but is there a use case for being able to download multiple work centers at the same time? Like being able to say, I want to download all 5 of these work centers, instead of having to go into each one and bulk downloading them individually.
You could do that through the.
you could do that through the File Explorer.
Right now.
Okay, so the File Explorer already
You'd have
supports
to, you have to do each individually, but it'd only be 5 clicks.
that? Yeah,
Um,
instead of
going,
digging into each one.
yeah, extended, yeah.
So you're saying you could do that function right now?
I think, I mean, you can right-click on the work center and say download it. Downloads all files and folders.
You wouldn't be able to do it from the zip files, you'd have to go on each person.
Yeah, on the zip file option, you'd have to go into the website, select all of the root level files and folders, and then say download, and then it would create that same zip, but it's just more clicks that you have to go through to get to that. Okay. Any other thoughts or comments? All right. I think that puts us right about noon, lunchtime. We're back here at 1. Is that right? Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everyone.